Welcome to the Crypto Traders Podcast, simplifying cryptocurrency for traders and investors around the world. Subscribe for interviews with developers, market updates, and a professional look at the future of money. You've come to trust Matthew and Kurt to filter out the noise across social media. Now you can listen on the go. Without further ado, here's the Crypto Traders Podcast.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Crypto Traders Podcast. I am Kurt Wookert Jr. here with Matthew John, and we're going to be talking about exchanges today. So we talk about fundamentals and we talk about trading. When it comes down to trading, really comes down to picking the right platform. In my opinion, picking the right platform is the first most important step to being a successful trader. We both actually agree completely on where we like to trade. So I'm going to pass to Matt and let Matt introduce the, maybe we should go in order of our least favorite to our favorite exchanges here as we fill everybody in on what we love about crypto trading. What do you think, Matt?
Well, I would start at the beginner phase. So when you're just starting to get involved in cryptocurrency, where do you go? I always recommend people to Coinbase, especially if you're located in the US. That's pretty clear, cut and dry. Always go on Coinbase, you register, you have to link your bank account, go through the steps. It's really kind of a pain, actually. And now Coinbase has so many competitors like Robinhood, Uphold. There's probably even more out there. Gemini, Kraken. Like, there's so many different exchanges. It's hard, and it's probably pretty overwhelming for people to figure that out. But Coinbase is usually a great place to start. And from there, then I'm looking to buy, I tell people either buy Bitcoin, you could send it to another exchange or another wallet, or they have actually a few different options right now.
I agree. You know, the first step really is fiat onboarding. And I think there's a little bit of a difference between what I would call an exchange and what I would call a trading platform. Like Coinbase.com, I don't really consider a trading platform, although it can be treated as one. The mobile app works fine for that. If you get a big dip or a big spike, I guess, if you're willing to pay fees and if you've got your stuff sitting on there and ready to rock and roll. So yeah, fiat onboarding. I have used Kraken in the past. It's not great. It's functional, but it's not pretty. It doesn't have built-in charts, at least not last time I checked. So it's always just kind of like meh. But for fiat onboarding, definitely a Coinbase fan. I do also like Gemini, so I should give them something of a shout out. Although as a Bitcoin Cash fan, I don't have the option there. For some reason, they only have BTC, Ethereum, and Zcash at the moment. And I believe they are launching Litecoin in the very near future. So for all of the Charlie Lee fanboys out there, you have your Litecoin option over at Gemini as well. But once you've got your fiat into the crypto universe, where do you think a beginner should go to actually start trading using a trading platform that has real traders' tools, Matt?
You have a couple of different options. So again, circling back to Coinbase, they do have Coinbase Pro, which was formerly known as GDAX. I think that is a very basic exchange. They only have a few options. And there is a way on Coinbase if you want to avoid all the fees. I did make a previous YouTube video on doing so. It's a tutorial. You actually have to add money onto your Coinbase account through your bank instead of just buying it directly on there. Then you can send it over to Coinbase Pro. You place a limit order, there's zero fees involved. So a lot of people don't know that trick, but if you find that YouTube video, I highly recommend you watch it if you're a beginner. Now, once you actually are off of Coinbase and you want to go branch out into the more advanced tools, then I would definitely recommend Binance as being that level 2 of your crypto trading career, because they have a ton of volume, a lot of liquidity, a lot of options. All the top coins are traded on Binance. It's very user-friendly. I really like the charts on there. They use TradingView charts and tools. I've never had any issues with Binance, and I always recommend people to go there.
Yeah. It's funny. I think you and I both kind of warmed up to Binance at the same time. When they popped up about a year ago, I remember discussing with you being like, man, I don't know, there's this wild new exchange coming up out of China, and it's janky, and the charts are weird, and the tools are all super bizarre. And then, like, right around the same time, like, I got an account, I looked at it, I'm like, man, I'm not putting any money there. And then I feel like maybe 6 months after they launched, I think you and I both, I remember us commenting in the private Discord group from CryptoTradersPro.com for anybody interested. But we both were like, man, Binance really seems like they've stepped up their game. Like they're a ton of liquidity, and they upgraded their charts and tools and everything else. And then all of a sudden we started recommending people to go to Binance because I was an old Bittrex and Poloniex guy a couple of years ago. Like Bittrex and Poloniex were the best platforms. And then they just went to trash, in my opinion.
Well, they stopped allowing new people to sign up, and I think that really hindered their growth. But
it did.
My problem with Binance was they launched their exchange, and to get people to sign up, they were doing Lambo giveaways and just absolutely ridiculous stuff. And I'm like, this is a terrible marketing scheme that paints a bad picture for the crypto trader.
Yep. No, it came across as almost scammy. I don't like when things are advertised with, glitz. When it's glitz, I'm always like, man, who are you going for? Like, you're trying to get people's money and then you're going to disappear. But, it is what it is. And yeah, I mean, I use Binance for basically all of my altcoin trading. If I'm going to trade BTC pairs, I do it at Binance. So I think that's probably recommendation number one for beginners. It's easy to use. But don't
store your cryptocurrency on Binance.
Yes.
If you're buying it and you want to hold it, or hodl, whatever, then you want to take it off the exchange, put it in a wallet. I'd recommend a hardware wallet. If it's not available on the hardware wallet, use a desktop wallet, or anything offline is suggested.
Yep, absolutely. So that leads us to my favorite exchange to trade on, and Matt's too. I imagine we've talked about this quite a bit. It's also the most controversial exchange in the entire crypto sphere, the enigmatic Bitfinex. Bitfinex is a Hong Kong based exchange. They've got USD pairs, or maybe they don't. I think everybody likes to talk about their USD pairs being pure Tether, and the Tether isn't backed by anything. And they've always had this kind of FUD swirling terror. Like, for some reason, they're the center of all conspiracy theories, I think, in the Bitcoin universe. And I understand why, but I've never actually had a bad experience myself. And I really like the tools. What do you think, Matt? What do you like about Bitfinex, and what do you think of the FUD that is always swirling around?
Well, Bitfinex is definitely a more advanced exchange. You cannot even access it without $10,000 to open the account. The reason we like Bitfinex is because they're one of the few exchanges that offers margin trading. It allows us to go either long or short, betting against Bitcoin. If we think it's going to go down, we could take a short position and profit on the downside. There's also a fair amount of coins on there now, and it used to not be like this. They've added a ton over the last probably year or so, but a lot of the top 25 coins you could buy on margin. So if you're betting that it's going to go up, you could use 3.3 times leverage. You could trade with 3.3 times the amount of money in your account and really bet that it's going to go up. And if you're right, well, you could really grow your account significantly. But if you're wrong, there's also a lot of downside risk if you're not careful. So it's definitely for a more advanced trader. There's some tools on there that really remind me of trading stocks on brokerage accounts, much more advanced. There's a scaling tool that we really like. Just made a video on that. You guys should go check that out as well. But scaling into our positions, that's something we always talk about. Bitfinex is the only exchange with the tools out there that allows you to do it properly.
Yep. Amen to that. And I think a big reason why there's a lot of FUD circling around Bitfinex is political. 2 years ago, looking back into the history of Bitcoin was an anarchist tool. Just 2 years ago, the primary and the typical Bitcoin user, typical Bitcoin trader was a libertarian internet activist that got into Bitcoin for political reasons specifically. And as the price went up, they realized, holy cow, I'm rich. And I think it's the case for the founders of Bitfinex, who didn't want to be regulated by the U.S. government because that was the ethic of Bitcoin at the time. And so they set up in Hong Kong. They created an exchange that didn't have any KYC or AML. And they said, hey, guys, if you want to be a pirate and a trader, trade here at Bitfinex. We're going to the moon however we damn well please. And I think a lot of the FUD has come from like their constant thumbing their nose at regulation and when the US government said, well, if you do any business with US customers, you have to do KYC. So they said, okay, well, all US customers are banned then. But of course, they leave the back door unlocked and swinging open for us to jump in anyways.
Well, the only reason we're allowed to trade on Bitfinex is because we are registered in Gibraltar, kind of an offshore, different country that's more crypto friendly. So we went to Gibraltar, we hosted a conference, and we set up our home base in Gibraltar. So that's what gives us the access to Bitfinex. But if you're in the U.S., you aren't supposed to be on there, and they could really kind of seize your funds if you're caught. So if you really are serious about crypto and you want to trade and you're in the U.S., then I definitely recommend setting up home base in another country.
Yeah, for sure. And that would be smart too. And just if you're going to be a serious crypto trader, if you're going to be making a significant portion of your income every year, it makes sense to set up an LLC in a place that's crypto friendly, a place that doesn't want to tax you to death. Just set up a foreign corporation. It's not against the law. It's not wrong. You have the ability to travel. You have the right to travel. Set up a business and work it out in such a way that you get to benefit the way that the wealthy benefit. It's not a thing that is actually even that difficult to do. And I recommend that people handle their taxation wisely. And of course, if you are doing business as an American, just get a good accountant. A good accountant can make this stuff much, much easier and take a lot of the stress out. And frankly, the tax man, we should do a show on that. We should
interview, have a lawyer, an accountant on here, because I think there's a lot of confusion that surrounds cryptocurrency. Yeah. I don't even think the IRS knows what they're doing just yet. So
no, they don't. And that's the thing. I don't even think that it's nefarious. I think it's a lack of information. I think the tax man is confused, and they were told, hey, it's your job to collect the money, and now we're not even clear what's money and what's an asset or what's a commodity or what's property. And crypto is really screwed with a lot of that, especially for traders. So I think my next favorite exchange, if we were talking about trading specifically, and this one's really different. It's actually a mercantile style exchange. It's BitMEX for futures trading. Now, if you really want to get crazy, you can play 100 times leverage with Bitcoin, but you're not actually playing with Bitcoin. You are trading paper Bitcoin. It's the XBT ticker, and you're trading futures specifically. So the MEX, the MEX in BitMEX is mercantile exchange, and it's just a little bit of a different experience, but the charts are the same. It's not like trading options and derivatives specifically, but it's kind of the next step in the direction of a financial tool that more professional traders would be more comfortable with. So if you are interested in trading with 100 times leverage, and if you have hands of steel and maybe even balls of steel, go ahead and buy those wicked low-hanging candles, or short the high-hanging wicks, and crank that leverage up and see what you can make happen. Wait, do you trade a lot on BitMEX, Matt? I don't know if you do or not.
I played around with it, but I really don't recommend BitMEX, especially for the beginner, unless you're just purely interested in gambling. It's more of a risky exchange, and a lot of people lose a lot of money on there. It's very easily, you get liquidated on there. There's server issues constantly where you're unable to submit orders during times where it's really key that you're able to submit an order. So they get overloaded easily, but they make a ton of money doing what they do because they're the only exchange that offers 100x leverage trading. But if you go on there and you even just type in bitmex.com, it looks like a casino. It's just a bunch of lights just flashing all over the place. Yeah. And it's really just kind of an adrenaline rush, and they're trying to suck you in and get you addicted to putting your whole portfolio on BitMEX.
Which, why not? But no, it is. It really is the Wild West to trading over at BitMEX. There are some other crazy ones. There's Bit7 that allows 200x leverage. I don't know what the which I don't know what the liquidation's got to be like 0.1% or something.
If it moves against you $15, you're gone.
Yeah, you're done. You're liquidated. So it's interesting. I like trading BitMEX. I do it usually when I'm bored, actually, like if I don't have much going on, which isn't very often lately. But if I'm able to sit and play, I'll sit and play the 5-minute candles, and I'll day trade a little bit. And I'll be honest, I never go over like 10 times leverage. Every once in a while, I'll push the slider up to 25x if I'm feeling real confident about a play. But yeah, BitMEX is certainly not for everybody. It is a white knuckle trading experience, and it's really, I don't know, it's kind of terrifying. But it's also, I mean, it's a legit exchange as far as I can tell. I've been able to put money in, take money out, and make make profits there. Like I have not personally had a bad experience, and that's my opinion on BitMEX.
So what do you think about exchanges that have gone down or gotten hacked or customers have lost their funds on? I've had some bad experiences. Why don't we talk about some of those?
Sure. I've never experienced it myself, and it's just a timing thing. I was around when Mt. Gox was around. I had a Mt. Gox account, but I never traded there. I used Coinbase at the time for doing a little bit of like if I felt like trading, but I wasn't really a trader, 2013, 2014. But I mean, that's the cardinal rule. That's where the rule came from was Gox. It's the one that everybody knows about. Mt. Gox. I've been saying what the acronym was for BitMEX was Mercantile Exchange. Do you know what Mt. Gox actually stands for?
Magic the Gathering Online Exchange.
Yes, it is Magic the Gathering Online Exchange. They converted to a Bitcoin exchange, and Mark Karpales tried to turn it into what was a professional business. But the reason people tell you don't leave your coins on an exchange is because of what happened with Gox. They got hacked. They didn't tell anybody they got hacked because they weren't sure how to deal with it. And then they completely ran out of liquidity, and people were unable to withdraw. The whole thing collapsed. Similar things have happened even at Bitfinex. Bitfinex got hacked, and that's a lot of where the Tether FUD comes from, is that Tether was used as a way to create liquidity that didn't actually exist. And so then people say, well, they, how can you do that? That's a fractional reserve. And
but that wasn't recent. That was in like 2014, 2015, yeah?
It was about 2.5 or 3 years ago now. But that kind of thing. And people lost money if you were storing coins there on Bitfinex. You lost them, or a portion of them. And then what they decided to do was steal a little bit of everybody's stuff that didn't get ganked, and they basically they socialized the losses so that everybody would be okay, which was a controversial decision too. But who else has anybody had a major? I'm trying to think who had a major hack and then folded up.
Well, there's a few that I had one bad experience. This was in 2017. So in early 2017, a lot of people were using Poloniex.
Yeah.
This was the hot exchange. Summer 2017, things were popping off left and right. 100%, 300%, 500% in a day. Like, it was an insane time to be trading. So this was the popular exchange. And then we kind of moved on to Bittrex that didn't even last that long. And then Binance.
Yeah.
But with Poloniex, I remember trading some Ethereum Classic on there. This was in May 2017. And I sent it off the exchange to somewhere else. I didn't see that Ethereum Classic until the end of 2017. It just, my funds were gone. And I had probably $2,000 of Ethereum Classic that I transferred off of Poloniex onto another exchange. Not 8 months, probably 5 to 6 months later, it was towards the end of 2017, they just popped up in my other account. And I was just amazed. Poloniex, they didn't answer any support tickets. So after that happened, I quit using them. I sent everything off of there. Luckily, I didn't have any other problems. And I don't go there anymore. Recently, they got acquired by Circle, which is backed or owned partly by Goldman Sachs.
Yep.
And they're really trying to turn around. I know they just listed Mana today, one of the coins we like, and that was pumping a little bit. But that was one exchange I had one bad experience with, and I was gone. And I think that's how everybody does it, because as soon as you have a negative experience, why are you going to keep using them when there's so many other options?
Sure. I had a similar experience at Bittrex with a coin called Rise. It was not really, I don't think it was traded anywhere except Bittrex and one other spot, but I did the same kind of thing. I tried to make a withdrawal. Rise was a proof of stake coin that had really good rewards, or I believe it was delegated proof of stake. So I think I wanted to vote with them. Either way, I set up a Rise wallet, and I tried to withdraw to it. and my withdrawal never came, and I couldn't get anybody from Bittrex to get back to me, and it was a big, it was a giant irritation. And at the time, and I don't know if it's different because I haven't had to talk to a support ticket anywhere, but man, 20 up until the middle of 2017, every support ticket I ever gave to any exchange went unanswered. So it's as if none of these exchanges actually have any customer service.
Right.
And I don't know. I don't know that that's gotten better. It hasn't been an issue for me, but I imagine that's still something of an issue, especially at the smaller exchanges.
Yeah. Binance, I submitted a ticket one time. It was answered same day, but it was answered by somebody from India that hardly can formulate a sentence, and he just gave me some very basics like clear your browsing history response.
Right. Interesting. I think it'd be interesting to talk about the couple of exchanges that we've talked about for the pump and dump coins. I think KuCoin and Cryptopia.
Oh my gosh. So have you seen that recent news with Yobit?
Yeah, that they were going to pump.
Right.
What were they going to do? They were going to pump 10 coins in one day.
Yeah, they were going to put one Bitcoin into 10 different coins and pump them up on their exchange. And this was an exchange that announced they were doing this. They announced it on Twitter, they blasted out emails, and they put it on the homepage of their exchange. Now, Yobit is a small exchange. I've never used them. I've never recommended them. But why is an exchange... I mean, this is that's a criminal offense. You can't announce you're going to pump your own coins on your exchange.
Right. Well, they're a Russian exchange. I don't know what the laws are there for such things, but they may not have a regulation for it. I think what's interesting too, Yobit, the first time I ever heard of Yobit, it was a guy doing a commercial on YouTube trying to shill his affiliate link. He wanted people to join Yobit, and he's like, hey, here's what's awesome about Yobit. He was a inner city dude talking about how awesome it was that there were no fees if you rolled your trade profits into their built-in casino. So it was like, man, every time I make some Satoshis, I put them right on the dice table. And I was like, oh my God, what is happening? This is unbelievable. So that was, I opened a Yobit account so I could take a look at it. And holy cow, is that place crazy. Like they have one of those chat boards that's just open right next to all the charts too.
Like so Trollbox.
Trollbox, yeah.
Used to have that.
Yeah, and it's the same thing. Like, oh man, this coin's gonna pop, and my cousin works on the ICO board, and it's just unbelievable.
But there's a ton of little winky-dink exchanges like that. It was KuCoin you mentioned. So KuCoin reached out to us on email, and they wanted to partner with us. They wanted us to essentially pump their coins. They reached out to me and said, we're going to let you know a week in advance what coins we're going to be adding onto our exchange, and I want you guys to put out an article. They'll tell us exactly what to post. We post it on our blog site, we share it in our group, and we create hype. And they were essentially asking us to pump their coins. We hype them up. We get insider information, but they refused to put us on their website and say we were a verified partner. They said nobody else knew about this. And it turns out I go to other groups and they were already registered with them and doing this hype thing. So there was an exchange that reached out to us asking us to pump their coins for them, create hype, and they would let us know in advance what coins they'd be adding as a reward. And I thought that was unethical, so I told them to kick rocks. I'm not interested in promoting that exchange ever again. Actually, I never promoted it in the first place, but still, why are exchanges like, it's ridiculous?
Yeah, no, it's absolutely insane. And then, yeah, I don't know. KuCoin, I actually like KuCoin's like logo and branding. When they came out, I was like, oh, this seems like a fun little exchange. And then I looked at the coins they listed and like
garbage.
It was almost all stuff I had never heard of, stuff that had, $2,000 a day in liquidity. And I was just like, man, what is up with this? But I think the grandfather, the king of all pump and dump coins is still Cryptopia. Cryptopia is a New Zealand exchange. Now, I've had a Cryptopia account for probably, I don't even know, 4 or 5 years maybe. And it was where I think I bought Monero there for the first time. Like that was just a place that always had the coins first back in the day. And man, that place is also like a madhouse. But
Well, there's a lot of garbage on there, but I actually like Cryptopia. The reason I like them is because I would be able to get coins on there for sometimes a cheaper price. So DGB, Digibyte, is one example that was on Bittrex trading at a premium, but I could go over to Cryptopia and put in lower orders and buy it cheaper, and it worked. Cryptopia also had Litecoin pairs at one time, so there was a time where I had a couple thousand Litecoin, and I would exchange that for other cryptocurrencies rather than have to sell it for Bitcoin, then take the Bitcoin and buy other cryptos.
sure, and it's interesting. Like they also have a ton of coins. I don't know that Cryptopia says no to anybody. So because they really, the last time I was on there, and it's been a little while, they had over 1,000 coins, and most of them had thin to zero liquidity, and I don't think they care. So, and whatever, if server space is free and maybe they've got something worked out, that's fine. But what I do actually think is really cool about Cryptopia is that they have an online marketplace.
Yeah.
So people can sell merchandise or you can sell service. So they kind of work like a Craigslist of crypto for a while. I haven't used them for that ever, and I don't know if they're still kind of rocking that because there's been grander things that have popped up that people would rather use. But
there was a lot of activity on there before last year.
Yeah, it was. There was a lot going on. I've moved on. In fact, my account that I opened in probably 2015-ish got closed randomly, and I don't know why. So then when I reopened it, I was just like, I don't feel like being here anymore. So I haven't used Cryptopia in a while. But
it's good to find the small cap gems. So sometimes we do these series called Gem Hunting, where we search for small cap gems because there's always going to be winners coming out of there. It's kind of hard to spot them, so you have to do some serious fundamental research since they're already so low priced. Maybe they just tip the markets. They have a under 25 million market cap. They're very small coins. A lot of them will probably fizzle away and go to zero. A lot of them are scams, but there's always going to be that gem that rises to the top, and it might make that top 50, top 25 list. So, I mean, that's where you get those 100x winners, 1000x winners, just crazy percentage gains. They usually start on Cryptopia, but by the time they're actually starting to move, then they'll get on Binance and Bittrex and the other larger exchanges.
And when I think about it, like when I think about Cryptopia, the only reason that I would have an account today is to buy Digibyte. I'm not a huge Digibyte advocate, but they are a really good project. And they're the head of their development team. He was the founder of Digibyte. He's a guy named Jared Tate. Has been really, really active on Twitter about refusing to pay the exorbitant fees to get listed on Binance. So much so that he's called out CZ publicly like many, many times. It was not just a one-time thing. He's been very, very hardcore about refusing to pay the fees and for making sure Digibyte does not have any pock marks on their reputation based on that kind of thing. So Cryptopia is a good place to buy something like Digibyte, which when Digibyte gets listed at bigger places, I think they will end up being a really big coin. But for the time being, Cryptopia is the place to get it. So there's things like that you can find on Cryptopia that are coins that really should be top 25 coins. And aren't yet, or maybe they never will be because crypto is all a giant scam and we're all crazy. But I don't think that's the case.
Well, the exchanges are kind of extorting funds from people. Like they ask for like 100 Bitcoin, 250 Bitcoin, like ridiculous fees. Some of these projects are just community projects that don't have any sort of funding outside from their price going up and then taking so. It's hard to get listed on some of those exchanges. Recently, Binance did announce that all the listing fees will be given to charity, which is a good thing, but we know it helps their tax situation and such. So.
Right. And also, a little bit of research shows that the charity is also owned by Binance. So, good on them. CZ's a hell of a businessman, and I appreciate that about him. I don't necessarily think that it's like morally wrong to be asking for an exchange listing fee, but it's it becomes this barrier of entry that just kind of leaves a bad taste in my mouth.
Well, they list just some garbage coins that raise a lot in the ICO, but their projects just turn to be scams. Like, it seems like the vetting process is not good at all.
Right. Well, and now they've delisted. There was a delisting event just a few days ago. I was really glad to see Bytecoin bite the dust because Bytecoin is a legit scam coin. Like, it was created by a scammer in order to be a pump and dump coin, and he pre-mined like half the supply for himself, and it pissed off the whole community so much so that they forked Bytecoin to create Monero, and the Monero community spilled off of that and said, man, Bytecoin was a cool idea, but we're going to make Monero out of it instead. So, it's good to see something like Bytecoin, which just like 2 or 3 months ago was having huge pumps over on Binance, and now get put down the sent to the farm, let's say, like all of the dogs you ever had growing up.
I'm glad it pumped because I had some Bytecoin left over from like May 2017
man.
I completely forgot about. It was on my Poloniex account, and when it pumped, I logged into Poloniex. I sold it. I actually didn't take the loss on it,
nice.
And I got the rest of my funds off Poloniex. Not going
awesome.
back there.
Well, that's cool. What'd you sell it for? Tether or Bitcoin?
For Bitcoin, I moved it off. But yeah, that was lucky because that was one of the coins I probably put a little bit of Bitcoin into. I forgot about it. Just said, I'll write it off as a loss. Then it pumps one day up 500%, and I'm back to break even.
Nice. Living the dream. So
yeah.
Cool. I think that wraps us up on exchanges. If there are any other exchanges in the universe, and there are lots of them, actually. There's lots of fiat on-ramps. There's places like BitThumb and CoinX and Huobi or Huobi, I think is how they say it. I don't know. It's Chinese Mandarin.
Well, exchanges are starting to offer incentives. I know Uphold, which is an exchange that's partnered with BAT, they just announced the other day that they're offering interest-paying dividends for holding on their platform. So if you're holding Litecoin on their platform, you might be earning 5% interest on that over the course of a year or something like that. They also are announcing they launched a crypto line of credit. So you could borrow cash against your cryptocurrency and use that as collateral. I think we're going to start seeing a lot more of that, and exchanges offering those kind of unique incentives. Since it's such a competitive space, they have to do something to set themselves apart other than just listing more coins.
Sure, absolutely. So a lot of interesting stuff out there. Of course, if you're interested in learning more, you can always check out CryptoTradersPro.com, where we will go over all of this stuff on quite literally a daily basis. And you can also check out our YouTube channel, where we upload a few videos a week, some fundamental stuff, some coin reviews, some interviews of developers, and all kinds of really good stuff about how to use exchanges, how to use tools, how to spot plays, and also news and some freebies as well, some stuff that could maybe qualify as signals occasionally as well.
And how to help businesses learn about cryptocurrency, educating the public, speaking at conferences. There's a ton of different stuff on our YouTube. I'm pretty sure we're one of the most diverse cryptocurrency channels out there.
Yeah, we are. Absolutely. I think we're the only channel that really focuses on business. Like we the business can be trading and investing, and that's what almost everybody talks about. But it's also Main Street entrepreneurship, simple entrepreneurship, all kinds of business opportunity, mining, staking, everything else. So please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check us out on Medium, Twitter, Instagram, and everywhere else where people socialize. And of course, our Facebook community, where we have about 50,000 people, the home of the daily discussion, where we go over everything in the universe. Today we talked about cypherpunk history, which was awesome. And
And yesterday we talked about the stock market crashing.
yes. Yep. So a lot of good stuff going on, everybody. But this has been the Crypto Traders Podcast. I'm Kurt, and
I'm Matthew.
yeah.
And we'll see you on the moon.
Bye, everybody.